I imagine, Harry, you're going to float some changes to the side that played last. And what would they be?
Well, first of all, Sam, it's a pleasure to be on the away perspective with you there.
You're welcome.
I think I mentioned it. Adama Traore, I think he'll come in for Podence because Podence weren't the best against Leicester. And that's probably about it because it's Nuno, isn't it? You don't like to change things too much. Maybe we might see Marcel in for Ait-Nouri because he struggled a little bit, didn't he, against Leicester? But yeah, we're at home, so I hope we take it to them. And I think Adama Traore could be the answer to take it to them. So yeah, he'll be in.
Going to bring in our wing-back correspondent, Dan Bayliss, crossover live now. What are the wing-backs going to look like, Dan?
Who knows? But as long as they do some attacking, I'll be happier. Southampton are a good team, on good form. I've looked at the betting odds, as I'm sure we'll discuss later, and I am shocked at what I'm seeing. I think Wolves are in for a really tough game against Southampton.
Why?
Well, they're better than us. On current form, they are better than us.
With 3 points behind them.
On current form, they are better than us, and we have some serious issues down both sides.
And which one are you going to change? Or both?
I don't know. I don't know what to do at the moment.
Traore right wing back and Marcel in at left wing back. Change them both.
I think Marcel's got to come in as a start if he's fit enough to play a game. That's the worry, isn't it? We haven't seen him actually complete a full game. I don't think, have we?
He played for the under-21s, didn't he, against Doncaster?
So he might be close, but I think he'll come in for Ait-Nouri, won't he? And they'll stick with Semedo. But I can't stand watching Semedo play more terrible, boring, non-attacking, defensively minded, pass it sideways football.
Jack, bring you on that.
Yeah. I'm going to ignore the Semedo comments because I'm like Harry, I'm a bit bored of them. But I think the one change will probably be Marcel for Ait-Nouri. Ait-Nouri looked a little bit out of his depth, didn't he, really, against Leicester, and made some really bad choices, particularly defensively. And then the only other change you'd really think is you're looking at the wingers. I mean, Podence and Neto have both done reasonably well, but you can't really deny the fact I thought we created a lot more when Traore came on against Leicester. I thought he actually probably was the best performance of the wingers, even though he was only on for half an hour or so. So judging by paper talk as well, if you believe it all, he's a little bit unhappy to be on the bench, but I don't know if that's just international break and transfer rumours flying about. But I'd say apart from that, there's obviously not going to be wholesale changes, are there, really? Because although we did fall short at Leicester, we weren't completely out of the game. But I agree with Dan in the fact that this is a really difficult fixture. It's horrible on paper. We've got a tough run of games coming up, really, so we could really do with getting something as well. But it's going to be a tough one against a team that are flying, really, and scoring, which is, something we're not at the moment.
Tom, they're almost problem wingers, aren't they, in the fact that you feel like you can't drop them, but we're not creating chances for them to actually keep their places realistically.
Yeah, I think it's a very difficult one, and I disagree. I wouldn't start Traore at the minute. I don't think he's offered anything, or he hasn't produced enough this season. Whether it's the contract talks that are looming over his head and clouding his thought process on the pitch, because we've seen that loads of times in the past with players that it doesn't lead to good performances on the pitch. And then with this rumour with Dybala coming in for Traore as a swap, for me, I've said all along through the summer that if a good offer is on the table for Traore, we should bite the hand off, because I think he's had a good season last season. He's not consistent, and to get to the top four, to get to where we want to be, you need 10, 11 consistent players who are always going to get you an assist every 2 games or a goal every 2 games. And Traore is too hit and miss and too static to be able to do that. You've got Neto and Podence, who are 2 young players coming through and do contribute, not as much as they probably, or we want them to at the minute, but they're a little bit younger than Traore, a little bit more inexperienced, and you would hope that they would develop into top quality players.
Harry, what would you say a reasonable amount of money would be for Adama Traore? I mean, if you look at the January transfer window, prices are usually a little bit more inflated there because of just the time of year, and coronavirus is probably going to play a part in it as well, which might knock some value off.
Well, he's still got 3 years left on his deal, even though he's meant to be signing a new one. He's mega popular. On that, you know what I mean? He's quite a famous bloke to have in your team in terms of social media and things like that. On his day, he can be unplayable. So I'd be looking between 60 and 70 million. I know we can laugh at his attributes sometimes, and he's not getting into our team at the moment, but if someone can use him in the right way, which we did last year, by the way, Nuno managed to get out of him. I think he's worth that much in today's market. I really do.
Jack?
You know what will happen though? It'll be Jota Mark 2, won't it?
I was gonna
We'll
say
sell
that-
him. We'll think it's a great deal, and then he'll be an absolute world beater, and everyone will be laughing at us for why we sold him.
It doesn't matter what they do for the next team, does it? It's what they were doing for you. And we all saw certain issues with Jota, and we can all see the same ones with Traore.
Well, Harry saw drawing comparisons there, which are similar, weren't they? You know, he's brilliant on his day, he's unplayable, and you're just thinking, well,
Same as Jota,
exactly
yeah.
the same again.
You don't see one of these
got
situations where you look back at in the past and you look at like a team from like a mid-table side, and you look at their team sheet and it's then full of world beaters from a few years' time, and you're thinking, how did Wolves not win anything with this team? And then once they've all been picked off, you don't want that situation to happen, do you?
The old gold generation.
Yeah.
But it is players have a shelf life at clubs, don't they? And you know, if we're being honest, Klopp is a better manager than Nuno and has got something out
How
of
dare you?
Jota. I know, sorry. He's got something out of Jota that Nuno couldn't get. You know, he had 3 years, and I mean, we are judging. You know, he's in the honeymoon period at Liverpool as well. It could be that in 2 months' time we're talking about him being hopeless again, which is perfectly feasible. But he's hit the ground running under a very good manager in a very good team with very good chances created for him all the time. So I don't think that we should be looking at Jota with great jealousy. I think he was very poor for us last season on the whole, and I don't think we've missed him this season so far.
If Wolves had Salah, Mane, and Firmino, I think we'd have had a good chance of being up there last year.
It comes down to that, doesn't it? I mean,
It comes down to it, doesn't it? They are three of the best players in the world, all playing on the same team.
And you're training with better players, and then I think you automatically up your game, don't you? But I wouldn't say he's not a passenger, is he? He almost was turning into that, you know, only playing in those European games last year. I say only, obviously his goals got us to where we got to, but in the big game where it mattered, it didn't come to fruition, did it? A score prediction, Bayliss?
I personally think we'll lose 2-0.
Jack?
1-0 defeat.
Bloody hell, I'm coming to Tom again for some positivity.
I'm going to be really positive, and I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw.
That is positive. Harry?
I'm going to stick with the prediction we gave to that Saints podcast, 4-1 Wolves.
4-1 Wolves. Excellent. Obviously, I'm going to go 2-1 Wolves. What we'll do